Looks like we're alive. On time too. On time. Okay, maybe about 30 seconds late. Just trying to work out where my wife is at the moment. She went down to pick up some food and now who knows. What is going on up here? That is weird. Oh great, now I've got a new windowed projector. Weird. Okay, it's something I've been wanting to get on OBS for quite some time, but now it finally shows up and I'm not even sure how it happened, so anyway. Alright, let's see, we've got to pop the chat out. Otherwise I won't see what you guys are saying. Right. Hey, Jim's here. Hello, Jim. I was wondering where you were the other day. I wasn't sure whether things were okay or what was going on, so I'm glad to see you here. Alright, so we've got this 1708, that is actually a 1706, come in. USB-C issues, it could be a bit of a disaster in all honesty. Often with these, it's some sort of liquid damage has gotten in and just train wrecked everything. Okay, we're missing screw bottom right. Just going to make a note of these things so that if I come back and the person says, hey, I don't have a screw in the bottom of my case, and it's like, well, let's have a look now, see if that was my fault or somebody else's fault. So, and there's also dents in it and all sorts of... It looks like it's lived a normal life to me. Okay, I'm not going to yet plug in the power because I want to have a look at the... see what it looks like visually. It looks normal enough. Got a fingerprint in there. Okay, this one's the underfilled CD3215s, and that's a good thing. I know underfills generally frowned upon, but in this particular board situation, we actually quite like it. So if we're very lucky, this is going to be a corroded cap on the other side over here, most likely. Or over here. I can never remember which side it is, but on these particular models, there's a signature fault where the cap corrodes and you just got to clean it up, replace it, and hopefully things go alright after that. Sometimes something else gets taken out in the process. Yeah, things have sort of languished for too long and further damage has occurred, and then it starts becoming a bit of a, do we bother repairing it or do we just let it die? At least the nice thing about these ones is that they do have the lifeboat connector, and so that means that if the board is basically dead, you still have a chance of getting the data off by talking directly to the SSD chips. Doesn't always work. Sometimes there can be damage with the VREGs that supply power for the SSD chips, and that's a bit of a nuisance, but at least it gives you a chance. And it also means that the data on the chips isn't necessarily encrypted in a way that you can't get to it, because this does not have the T2 chip on it. That's why they don't have lifeboat connectors on the T2 machines anymore, at all, because when you even if you can get the data off the NAND chips without the key that's in the T2, it's useless. Oops. Whereas with this, even if you have an encrypted file system, if you know the password for the file system, that's fine. You can then decode it. But the T2 added a whole nother level, so that wasn't applicable anymore. Which is a bit of a nuisance. It would have been nice if they had it such that you could, a bit like the BitLocker situation. Not that I'm a fan of the BitLocker situation either, but at least you have a chance to put the key elsewhere in safe storage so that should something happen, you can still access your data. Hey, Mr. Howell, good to see you too. Hey, Creature, Be Blood, Teresa. Teresa's got herself a nice fancy new 3D printer. I'm thinking of bringing my 3D printer into this room here because now I've got a cleared space off the side there. It's probably not a bad place for it to be in here. But then at the same time, I'm kind of thinking, I like having the space over there. I don't want to use it because it's, you know, as soon as I put a 3D printer there, it's, well, that's its home now. It lives there, Narc. Just going to check my messages, see if I had a response. I want Norca. Asking about milk. Choose whatever you think, full stop. I'm fine with Norco myself, but whatever you want. Forever running out of milk for our nightly malt drink, where we get a chance to sit down and it's comparatively quiet, reflect upon the day. Hey, Keith McDermott. Victor's here. Hello, Victor. Nice to see you. Is this the first time I've seen you on the new live channel, or have you been here? I can't remember now. What have we got, like 18 streams already done? Starting to forget. Okay. Probably the one part I dislike most about this series of laptops is the double speaker assembly. Blimey heck. Oh, that's a great big I think it's about a 6.3 litre Cummins diesel that just went past. They stuck it into a patrol, Nissan Patrol. Oh, that doesn't want to come out. So it's a very low revving but throaty, torquey vehicle. I mean, even the big V8 4x4s are usually limited to about 5 litres. But they went all out with that one. I'm pretty sure it's a custom fit. I don't think it's one you were ever able to buy. Ach, nee man. The Touch ID needs to be warmed up to make it let go. Hey Pedro. No, we don't have the Horlicks one. We have some other brand, starts with S, Sutherland's or something like that. But it's basically, it's just malt syrup, very rigid malt syrup. There's no, it's not pre-mixed with milk powder or anything like that. Alrighty. Board out. Now this will be a 239 or a 932 or something like that. And it's a 239. Okay, and here we go. So which one is it? It is this side. This here is the bit that usually is the culprit. Yeah, the mat's cut in half because the old one didn't fit. I've got a lot of retrofitting to do here again. This board itself, I am going to get myself a 1.8 6-foot long one and put it across because the one I had before was 1.2 4 foot. And it was always a problem because as you get to the edge where I've got my keyboard and mouse, it was a step off like that. And so it would feel very funny as you rest your arm across it and things like that. And I just realized, yeah, the easy solution for me for that is just to get a much longer plank, and it's fine. Then I can stick the keyboard on it and I don't have that drop off issue. So I just have to get another one of those, another one of these. I'll just unscrew it from the bench. I'll have to redo the holes for the microscope, but yeah, that's not a big problem. Okay, so this is usually where the issue is, but that's looking pretty clean. Let's see, have I got my HDR set up on this yet? Probably don't. There we go. Come on, HDR. Come on. I very much look forward to when I'm able to afford to buy a replacement camera, because this one's really ticking me off. Replacement camera and replacement screen, so that I can actually... One of the big problems I've got lately with video footage is that I cannot trust my eyes. Like if I'm looking down the microscope here, like I'll think, okay, that's in focus. But then when I look at the screen later or look at the video footage, it's like, well, that is not in focus. So I need to get a video monitor for monitoring. Like when I say video monitor, I mean like an actual screen that is dedicated for the purpose of displaying what is being sent to YouTube. So a monitoring monitor. So I need to have something like that, because far too often I'll look back and I'll think that is just god awful out of focus. By the way, autofocus microscope camera will not save me in this case. All they do is get confused and jump and jitter all over the place. It's just, unfortunately, it's a waste of money. The other problem I have with this camera is the sensor is just too insensitive. Yeah, I've got to crank up the light too much, and I've got to, you know, set that HDR too high. I'm not happy with the purchase. It's good enough. I mean, it gave me the 60 frames per second. That was good, but it kind of hurt me in other ways. And unfortunately, these are not the sort of things that you can just replace on whim. Not unless you're so filthy rich. Can the camera focus be manual or automatic? You can manually adjust, turn off the automatic. Yeah, you can. That's an interesting splutter pattern on that 3215. I am fearing that we've actually got a shot through 3215, which is really going to tick me off. Because if you've got a shot through 15, then that on these boards, essentially it means you've got to replace both of them, top and bottom. Because they're underfilled, they're going to get upset when you try and take the other one away. They're kind of like little twinnies. Well, that's about the only sort of indication of weirdness around here, just there. I'm going to plug in... There's a bit of copper shards around here too. How am I supposed to get this done in an hour and a half? What the? Never seen that before. Oh, okay, Teresa, I'll have a look. Well, that chip there is the one that's normally problematic on other boards like the 1949. Yeah, well, obviously this board isn't keen on doing things. Fair enough. But on the other boards, it has another suffix rather than GAW. It's the next letter along. Or next letter back, I should say. Okay, where's my brush? Where's my brush? Where's my brush? I don't know what I do with my paintbrushes. I've got a toothbrush here, it might do the trick, but the only job with the toothbrush is that it is a little bit contaminated. It's not like I take these paintbrushes out of the room. They're in here somewhere, but for some reason I just become complete... Oh, there it is. Yeah, it looks like we're going to have to actually do some diagnostics work here, because visually nothing is winning for me. Well, that leaves me rather disappointed, I must say. I was hoping for just a simple case of, yep, alright, we got it, fine, great. Okay, time to bring out the serious things. Welcome to the longest day. I thought it was going to be the 22nd. For us, it is the shortest, but that, like I said, it should normally be the 22nd of June. Our winter, what is it, winter solstice? Certainly not the equinox. Okay, let's see what we get jumping around. $538. Did that jump up initially or what? No resetting going on there. That's rather peculiar. Okay, with this kind of behavior, I'm going to say it's most likely not actually a USB-C port fault. This almost feels like it's in DFU mode, but that's kind of weird.
Hello, my love.
Oh, crikey. Hello.
Sorry.
That's okay.
Just letting you know I'm back.
Okay, everything all right?
Seems to be.
Okay. Did you have any luck with the knives?
I forgot.
You forgot that...
But I've got to take Mum to the doctor's.
Oh, no,
tomorrow,
no,
so-
but it's funny because when you were getting into the car, I said, did you remember the knives?
Oh, is that
And you
what
went, chunk, shut the door. And I was like, okay.
said? Since when do I listen to you? I'm taking Mum to the doctor's tomorrow, so I'll just take it in then.
Okay,
I'm just going to go do the rounds.
do the laps. Yep.
I didn't understand what you were saying about the milk because you said phone.
Oh, that meant to be fine.
Oh, fine. Okay, well, I got it anyway.
Oh, well, there you go, we're sorted. Alright. What was I saying? Yeah, this feels like it might be in DFU mode, so I'm just going to check that. It can be a bit of a problem where people will put these boards in DFU mode in an attempt to try and fix them, but all it does is just create complications. Okay. So basically I have to plug the data cable into here, plug the power cable into here, and just see if it comes up as DFU. If it does, then yeah, that's going to be fun. DFU will restore. If we're lucky, it doesn't come up that. Just going to take my jumper off. Alright, it's not coming up, but I might actually double check this by just momentarily putting it back into its chassis. I'm also going to check the USB-C ports on the chassis. Oh, right, yes, thank you, Pedro. Thank you so much for that. Easy how you can sort of forget these things a lot. You get carried away with habitual diagnostics and you fall into traps like that. Feel like Paul is tired. Paul is always tired. Nothing unusual there. Alright, okay, well, we're going to do a test that I very rarely do, but we're going to do it. And I'm going to pull out a thingy-bob that should help me. If I can find this said thingy-bob. There it is, way over in the far corner of the workshop, where it really gets used. Oh, Pedro dropping shots there. Old man, says the old man. Yeah. I was lucky enough that I was given one of these, along with a NAND programmer that I still have never used. So basically what this is, it's essentially, it's a diode mode port tester. So you just simply, instead of going through manually checking the diode mode of all the pins, this thing does it in a few sort of seconds. A1706 left. Yep, left is fine. Now it's important to note that this only tests the external pins. You know, it doesn't actually test a lot of the other stuff that is going on. But it's sort of useful, I suppose, when you just want to quickly clear out some potential. Yeah, everything comes up fine on that. Like I said, I'm not surprised. The reason why I'm not surprised is because nothing actually changed between the ports when we switched over, you know, left and right, top and bottom. Nothing changed. It all stayed at the same sort of 38. And there was no resetting or anything like that. So this is actually turning into a bit of a nuisance one. So my next step, I'll probably do things like check RTC. See if we're actually getting our voltages. I will tell you now that it's not so common for me to have to do this. I'm feeling somewhat offended by the fact that I am having to do it. It's like, how dare it make me do this? Yeah, as a gift they're great. Alright. Fundamental test. Okay, no short on the fuse. Okay, fuse is fine. Given that the board looks very immaculate, you've got to start wondering, okay, what could have caused this to fail? Most common sort of thing on a board this age would be something bad came through the ports, but it doesn't really look like it's lending itself to that. I'm just going to have a look at the graph again. Pardon me. So we're sitting at 37, 38. I need to I need to add a button onto my software that just sort of says reset. I suppose I better load up the board view as well. Hey Darius. Stephen, you know, I know you half joking there, but that's actually legit. I really try hard to not have to work hard to earn my keep. So give me some caps to flick off, or a bad port or something like that, making me actually have to diagnose things. Pff, yeah. Hey Bodger, good to see. Yeah, that's rock steady. That's not going anywhere. So some prerequisite is most definitely missing. By the way, I'll be a little bit clumsy with my mouse work at the moment because I'm working right-handed here. Let's see, schematics. So what we want is the RTC start stuff. Nope, wrong one. I have forgotten what the RTC is on this one. Let's see if my notes and solutions have it. Here we go, power sequences. I guess we'll just follow through this guide here. It'll give me an idea. I'm going to switch over. Basically, yeah, if you've got no idea what you're doing, then just follow the guide. So in this case, I start here and check that you're getting voltage at the fuse, so on and so forth, and carry on through that list. Yeah, Steve W. Yeah, that's how I want it to be. It's like, shouldn't have to think. Come on, this is a repair technician's job, not a designer's job. If I was doing design work, fine, then I would accept that I have to actually think about things. Anyway, let's get some voltage mode. Get my probies. So first thing I'm looking for is, well, obviously some voltage at the fuse, which I'm fairly sure we do have. I mean, otherwise we wouldn't even get the... Seriously? Nothing? That makes no sense. Means I must be on the wrong one. Wrong port. Switch to the other port. That's more like it. I should note that, interestingly, with the C3217s, even if you plugged into the other port, you still seem to get voltage on the other fuses, which is an interesting thing. Okay, so now we're going to be checking our LDO voltages. Like I said, we could have a shorted LDO, but it'd be pretty unusual to not see it. Yeah, 3.2. Okay, that's meant to be 3.3. 328's fine. Next one is a 1V8, and that's on the test pad over here. I like using test pads. 1V8, that's close enough. Next one is on another test pad over here. 1V8. Now, the one that's always a real kicker is usually the 1V1, which is down here. And, okay, so we don't have 1V1. Now, that's interesting. So, it usually means well, one of the causes is that you don't have Thunderbolt firmware going through, which is this thing here. But that looks pretty damned intact. Okay, what I'll do is I'll check the, let's see. Um, 3200 is the master, I think, or is it 3100? Oh wait, 3100 is the master. Yeah, I think. Yeah, I'm going to flip over to 3100 and try that. So this is 3100. Oh, sorry. There we go, 3100. Let me just do the same process there. Hey Joho, welcome along. Fuse. Ah, damn it, I got plugged in the wrong one again. Okay, 5. Three V3 on this tip point here. We'll do 1 V8 down here. Yep. One V8 over here. Yep. I can't remember, Pedro. And 1v1. Well, again, we don't have 1v1 yet again. Let's see. Let's have a look and see which one is the master versus the slave. You can usually tell because there's one extra NC on it. Okay, so we're an NC on 52 versus 44. 52 is USB XL. Did I forget NC on 44 on this one? 44 is ground. Hey David. Hey there Sam. Slave has a lot more ground pins. Yeah, I think... What is that? USB... F11 reset output. Okay. Oh, secondary. Alright, let's see. 3200, 3200, 3200. Okay, 3100 is the primary. There we go. What's F11 on this one? Hey Joey, good to see you. You got your stream building up for tonight. Anyway, what do we say? Oh, what did we say? 3100 primary. Yeah, primary is 3100. Yep. Anyway, the point is we're not getting 1v1. But what bothers me here is I suspect we also won't get 1v1 on the other side. And the question is, why? And the reason why it bothers me is because I have a feeling that this may be a red herring. The missing 1v1 is a red herring. Joey, I'm still waiting for my parts to arrive too for my Nintendo stuff. Let's see, CPU side. UB400. I'm just going through and checking these as well. Dun, dun, dun. Let's see, we got the right port yet? No, we got the wrong port. Okay, 5. Doesn't matter, that's negative. No one cares about negative voltages. .3. If I did this often enough, I wouldn't have to keep referring back to the cheat sheet. Ooh, it's a yucky one. This is jammed in down here. Okay. And again, yeah, we don't have 1v1. Yeah, so on both sides we don't have 1v1, and yeah, that just sort of strikes me as a little dodgy. So let's go for the power sequence. See, the trouble is it's very early in the process. So, you know, right here it's already wanting 1v1. And it's an internal LDO on it, so there's a prerequisite, obviously, but the question is, what is that prerequisite? And often it's a case of, okay, you need the firmware needs to respond or whatever through the Thunderbolt, you know, get it out of the Thunderbolt chip. And I don't know what the prerequisite is. So I feel like there's something else. There's another voltage that's obviously got to come up before that 1v1 comes to life. And I don't know what it is. I might just go check that RTC. Hey Ed Boss. The 1v1 is generated by one of the 3215s on either side. I mean, another possibility is the ISL is kaput, but again, I'm really not a big fan of doing just random part replacements like that. B-Blood, the actual ROM chip uses it. Feel like I'm missing something. It's like it's gonna be something small. I said none of the input pins are dead or mismatched. Oh, Jerry, I've still got to get around to buying one of those mechanic USB-C port things. So I haven't got around to doing it. I've been fighting off other demons, so to speak. I'm going back to the visual analysis because I feel like I really don't want to go pulling chips before I've... It's just a bad way to get started. You start dragging off chips and then every time you do that you add another uncertainty to your situation. Sure, if you've been doing repairs out there's been plenty of times where you have just sort of not being able to work out what's going on and say, stuff it, and you pull chips off, and then you eventually find the fault, and then you realize in retrospect that you pretty much just wasted your time. And I thought for a second then that middle cap there was at fault, but it's not. It's just a shadow. I had a little heart start there for a second of hope. Dashed just as quickly. Sounds like some of my dating. Kind of like when the hot person waves to you in the park and then you go to wave back and then you realize just in time, maybe sometimes too late, they weren't waving at you. They were waving at the person behind you, and now you look like an idiot. Yeah, fun stuff. Oh, that's right, these are the 9239s on this too. Yeah, both sides. That's why I'm thinking if there's going to be something that it might be, it could be the ISL. Hell, I don't even know if I've got any 39s at the moment. I might have to do a donor pool. But basically, if the CD3215s are not showing any signs of fault, and all the pins seem good, then at this sort of level it really does sort of start to come back down to the ISL, but like I said, I'm really disinclined to do that at times. It's kind of like the phone repair guys that just whip out the old TriStar as the universal fix. Like, oh, your phone's a smouldering wreck, must be the TriStar. Yeah. Oh, I do have some 39s, thank goodness I was smart enough to buy some. Whew. One new me. That happened to me yesterday, but it was a guy in a car way back. Well, yeah, you can't be rude. Yeah. Alright, here we go. I'm going to blame you all if this is not actually the fault. Because, I mean, that's like a $10 chip. And I don't generally re-pull chips. That is, once I've put this chip down, that's it. That chip belongs to this board, this job. I'm not going to usually take the chip back off the board and use it again, because I don't know if I've just introduced a new issue. Like, say something happens to the chip while it's on and I power it up. and they'll think, oh well, that didn't fix it. I'm going to just take this chip back because it's a $10 chip. But what you don't realize is that you've already damaged the chip, and then you put it onto your next board, and it damages the board. Yeah, Joey, I'm hoping, fingers crossed, those parts arrive tomorrow. I can't be sure. Anyway, here we go. I wish it was chump change, Tom Morgan. I really wish it was chump change, but it's not. You gotta watch these caps. They're really, in fact, I'm gonna shield them off. I'm so sick of these caps just deciding that they're like, we're out of here, and they just go pop. I mean, to be fair, a lot of it's because, you get a little aggressive with the hot air. I mean, you don't want to be sitting here waiting half an hour for the chip to come off. You just like, get it off. But yeah, the caps don't appreciate it. That's pretty clean. Not all of these caps will pop, but there's a good number of them that do. Usually these sort love it. They just, yeah. Okay, let's get some wholesome lead in there. And then let's slurp that lead up. Good, tasty, wholesome, slurpy lead. Ah, someone needs to find his special tweezers, and he's found them. Yay! Yes, I definitely do prefer to stick to Jason Vilma levels of flux. It's just so much nicer. Rossmann levels are just ridiculous. Paul S also gets really minimal with his flux, and I'm happy to see that. There we go. Clean up those pads. It's nice. Now, while they're still hot, I'm just going to have a itty bitty teeny weeny meeny dab of flux. Yep. These chips really do love to fly off the board. Okay, I've got a high-pitched whine going on. Don't care for that much. And let's see, according to the board view and schematic, pin 1 is down here towards the corner. Okay, I'm going to drop the airflow on this. 60 is a little aggressive. So I was hitting it at 450 and 30 air. we can get aggressive with it later if we really want. I have a feeling I'm going to need a smidge more flux. Okay, it's drifting into place. I think that's home. I hope it was. I'm just going to give it a little tad. I feel like maybe some of it didn't quite make it home. Yeah, sometimes you can just feel like a chip just sort of stopped a bit short of where it was supposed to go. No, I think that's good. That is slightly air pushed down on one corner. Don't like that. What I mean by air pushed is that the hot air, the actual airflow from the air gun kind of tilts the chip because there's such light chips and you're hitting it from directly above it. You know, if you're slightly off, it does put a little bit of a tilt on the chip. Yeah, we're just waiting for it to cool off. The downside of the tilt is that, of course, it pancakes some of the balls a little more. It shouldn't be excessive. I mean, it's not like it's massively tilted, but I can just sort of see with the microscope lights by the way that the center line on the chip was shifted off to the side a little more, that therefore the chip must be slightly tilted. Anyway, let's see how we go. Okay, we got different startup already. Still no good though. So before we were getting 39, now we're getting 9. Okay, maybe it wants a battery. Even still, it should be negotiating 9. So it was something ISO related. Maybe. 9. 9. Definitely changed. Let's check diode mode. Trying to check things out, the 4R7 and stuff like that, because the 9, the drop can be because it's now being heated. So we've got all our diode modes here, we can quickly check those. The 4R7 is one of the more common ones that crap out. Let's see, this one here, 7075. Up on the other side. Anyway, so welcome to why I generally don't like replacing chips too quickly. Because now we've got a different kind of issue, but it's not a solved issue. Hush now, creature. We're not listening to you. Anyway, 4R7. I can sort of measure this in circuit. Okay, 4R7. It's low enough that I can get away with measuring that in circuit. There's not too many other influencing parts around. Okay, come on up. Alright, time to check the current loops. Anyway, I'm going to check the diode mode on these things. It's probably not going to give us anything really, but it's worth a check. Alright, so we got 5445, so what do we got? 56, that's good enough. 45, whoops, 3457, 34, yep. 78, okay, this one here is a little higher than it should be, but it could be because of heat, but basically I'm reading 78 here, as you can see, but on the schematic it's saying 57. So it's possible that went high, and that's 7.8 there, so that's... But this side is also 7.8, so I'm going to say that's probably not an issue. 3.3... 4.3... Okay, this one's interesting. That should be 6.1, and we definitely... Okay, that's supposed to be 6.1, and we've got an open circuit on that. Yep, we've got an open circuit on that. So that was this one here. TBA comp. Alright, given that it goes nowhere, that makes me think that the reball job did not work. That chip is either not sitting down properly or something like that. And unfortunately we can't actually see it too well from this side. Yeah, no, I can see it. I can see it hasn't reflowed. Yep. You can see the balls are very separate from the pads. So that's the problem. Reflow did not finish properly. And that's why it's probably reflowed this side, and it has, I remember looking at that, but it didn't reflow that side, and that's why it's tilted. Time to cook the chip again. Yeehaw! We'll go full cook this time, because at least we know now that... Oh, you didn't see. Ha! Sorry, folks. Yeah. Look, I'll show you again, because you didn't see it. You can see that there, you can see they haven't properly, they're just starting to, then didn't go all the way down. Unfortunately, doing a scene change from, what do you call it, from schematic, away from schematic, is not something I've been able to really solve yet. I did have a proximity sensor that I was going to try and put it onto the microscope itself so that if my head got near the microscope again, it would change. But there's going to be issues with that too. Anyway, here we go. There we are. No more George Costanza. I am not doing Rossmann levels of flux, thank you very much. There was plenty under there to do the job. I see you even use the MOAR version of Moore. My favourite version of Moore. Yeah, did that really go down, or is that still floating up? Wow, that still hasn't... What the hell? That still actually has not reflowed. I'm doing a bad job here tonight, folks. You're all here to witness it. But now I do have to add a little more flux because I've basically chewed up the existing flux. I really thought that actually had done the job. You see, I don't want to tap the damn chip. Oh, there we go. There's the jump. Ah. Yeah, premature hot air removal. That's simple as that. Now it looks all yucky. Still not done right. What the hell? What's on the other side of this? No, that's still not done right. I'm ruining this chip. I'm ruining my reputation. I'm ruining everything. Wow. Maybe I need to push up to like 460 or something to do it properly the first time. Obviously the deflector plate's not helping. I mean, that should definitely be reflowed by now. No, something's... It's like it wants a tap or something. I'm just gonna pull the chip and do it again. I'm sorry. I'm really not a big fan of tapping. The main reason I'm not a big fan of tapping is because there can sometimes be some rather hilarious consequences. And when I say hilarious, I am being sarcastic. The other option that sometimes what people try is you leave a little surface mound of leaded paste solder there, But I'm really not a fan of doing that because it messes up the seating of it. I did bridge them, but I unbridged them. Oh no, I didn't. I would have spotted that. But thank you. I would have spotted it as soon as I came in for the cleaning of it. But I appreciate it. We don't need cotton fibres in there charring up, creating conductive links. Upper left pad does not clean. It's clean. It's just that it's slightly mottled. I thought you'd be more worried about the one in the centre middle area. That was the one I was expecting you to pick, but you surprised me. You went for the upper left. The electric toothbrush would be a bit excessive on this one. I hate this. I hate it when your tweezers have a bit of gunk of some sort on them. And so you're trying to position your chip, even though it's somewhat futile. But yeah, the big problem with these little chips is they just love to fly. So you can't really come in with any sort of real airflow, at least not excessively. It's heaps of flux there. Yeah, you can't come in with an excessive airflow because they'll just flip right off. And you also don't want too much flux because the flux will bobble up and push them, just pop them off. There it goes. I didn't like that jump it just made. No, that's a piece of flux creature, thankfully. That was a bit of flux from the... Ow. From the tweezers. I was looking at it. Teslas, it comes down to, I guess, compactness, simpler manufacture. Yeah, there's reasons. Also helps with the cooling a bit. Okay, that one's definitely reballed. I mean reflowed. Yeah, you can see you got proper pancakes there. Muffins, whatever. And likewise on that side. Alright. Not a fan of actually having subjected the board to quite that sort of prolonged exposure to heat. I mean, it wasn't terrible, but you know, I do try to minimize. But in a way, trying to minimize too much ended up creating the opposite problem. Anyway, here we go. And we're going to be back to what we were before. Yeah, so it wasn't the ISL. Son of a bitch. So yep, as anticipated, it is not an ISL issue. So welcome to the reinforcement of my fundamental first law of policy, which is don't replace chips on whim. But I mean, yeah, sometimes it is that. I mean, when these sort of boards first came out, the ISLs were popping left, right, and centre, so it was definitely, you know, a common choice. I got a cough. Yeah, it was a common thing. And certainly the fact that we don't seem to have any real notable uniqueness of defects on any of the CD3215s. So all the ports are reporting the same. It's got to be it's most likely got to be something within the system and not the CD32s. No, none of the LDOs are fine. That's the trouble. We're not getting the 1v1 LDO on either side, and that's the other problem. Either side, they're both dead. The pattern, the behavior is the same across both sides. I'm going to try some dumb shit here, dumb testing. So please stand by. Sometimes you just get lucky. Most times you don't. Okay, 5 volts coming in. 1.2 coming out. That's not good. That's not right. This is yeah. You know, I was talking about coming to this area. But yeah, so we have 5 volts coming in on the input of the diode, and on the other side of the diode, we've got 1.2. That ain't right. So the possibility here is the diode's trucked, or the 3V3 RTC type regulator is pulling it down. Alright, so let's have a look what this diode value is. 0.5, okay, so something's pulling it down, so it could be that or one of the caps. I think I need to amend the notes on the testing and actually put a note in between with the LDO checks and actually say check your check that 3v3 section. So basically this is it here. So what we have here is we've got let's see, yeah, so we've got 5 volts coming in here and then it just magically dies. U6903. Well, it may not be dropping much. As in, it may not be inducing much of a current flow. I don't know. I'm just looking for a bad cap or something like that. What bothers me though is I know I've encountered this in the past, and I know it hasn't ended up being the regulator either. Safest, easiest option, first step, is take the diode off and see whether the diode mode changes. And if it changes, then okay, then we've got to deal with the regulator. But yeah, I need to go through and make that change in the guides because it's not the first time I've run into this issue. Okay. So yeah, first thing I'm going to do is just shift this diode off, this dual diode, and see if that changes. It probably won't, but it's one of those cases where sometimes it's just easier to pick away at the simpler parts first. Alright, so that hasn't changed, so the diode's fine. So no biggie, we just quickly solder it back on. Board's hot. Put some nice loving lead on there. Itty bitty smidge of sticky stuff. Ah! Someone just hit the microscope. Yeah, that's good. Alright, I'm going to try the caps next. So we've got 2 caps here, 6905. Where are you, 6905? (6906). Where the hell is 6905? What's this C7081? That's interesting. It's also annoying It's annoying because when you look at this circuit here, and you look at this section here, you would normally expect, given that it's such just a little run, that anything on that net would be represented here, but it seems like that's not the case. So, okay. Yeah, because there we have this other, which is connected to there, 7081, which is up here. Didn't see that sucker. And that could send you pretty mad, because you'd be going, okay, we're going to drop the caps that are around the regulator. And so and then you think, well, there's only two, and you go looking for that 6905, which doesn't show up on the board view. And then you think, oh, well, there can't be anything more, so I'm done. But then there could be that one up here that's just lurking there waiting and being hidden, and it could have been your fault all along. Yeah, I'm not sure sneaky bass is what I would say, but yeah, so it'd be, which cap was it? One of these up here, was it? Yeah, let me have a look. Up right by the 3. So it's that cap there. Yeah, it is on the back side of the ISL, and I swear I've had that foul in the past. Yep, there we have it. Look at that. You can see it. You can see the fracture marks on the bottom there. Bam. We got it. I've had that one fail maybe 2 or 3 times now. And you can't see it from there. Doesn't look like it's broken, but it is. Now we've got to extract it. Fat cap. No, in this case, crack cap. Oh, look, don't complain about the MLCCs. Honestly, I love the MLCCs. Really, I do. I genuinely, 100% love the MLCCs. I love them because of the fact that they do crack. And I love them because of the fact that no matter how much Apple goes along and signs various chips and all that sort of other crap, you're still going to get MLCCs destroying the bed sheets. And because of that, you're always going to have a job. Well, exactly, yeah. And the nice thing is, I wonder if that would have shown up in the infrared. Okay, dad mode. Let's see what we were at 0.03 or 0.05. Yay, there we go, 0.4. Good. Yeah, just not the ISL directly. Like I said, I'm going to amend the guides to actually make it that people need to check that section there first. Because there isn't any information saying that on the guides currently. You don't get to this section until way after. And like I said, this is probably the 3rd time now I've encountered that cap, I reckon. So I think it's definitely a signature issue. And of course the hilarity of the fact is that it's not even on the it's not even part of this network display. I mean, I get it, it's part of the ISL circuitry, but it's a little bit of a misdirection there. Not intentional maybe, but it's definitely there. So what have we got? 35 volt, okay. 35 volt, 2.2, 402. It's a pretty high rating one too. Let's see, 22, no. 10.6, no. 2225, no. 1010, no. 125, no. 130, no. Geez, I might have to actually do a pull on this one. 135, so close. 2.235 for O2. Knew I should have some. Yeah, I'm not sure why it cracks. I don't know whether the 35 volt rating that they use just isn't quite enough for some situations. Maybe we should be thankful for it. Maybe it takes itself out before other components do. Anyway. Where did I put it? Ah, there it is. It's hiding stealth there. Nearly didn't see that. By the way, if you're left-handed like I am and you're doing this, you got to be careful you don't melt your battery flex. Very nice. I love it when it just sits in beautifully like that. Yeah, Joey, they're good tweezers. I file mine down a little bit over time. These are a bit blunt now, but I do file mine down. I've got this, fish hook sharpener. I know they sell it as a tweezer sharpener, but they're originally fish hook sharpeners. Alright, so we've got a bit of flux here. Let's try and get this cleaned up before it goes all rigid. Smidgy. Just don't smear it around. Just wiggle the bud back and forth slightly. It provides enough action to get that flux to dislodge. But it means you don't smear it around like you're a chimpanzee in a cage. Huzzah. The ISL I'm very upset about. It's just another reminder that I should believe in myself more. I knew it wasn't the ISL, but I mean, I was having a brain fart and it sort of made sense. It made enough sense to try it, especially given that historically they've definitely been the culprits more than enough times. So yeah, I mean, it was within the realm of acceptable failure. Okay, I'm getting a bit sloshy here with my cleanup. I'm not happy about that. Joey's going to be going, you're a heathen. Absolute heathen. That's disgusting, man. Nauseating. 10 o'clock. My time is up. That's my gotta go give insulin to the kitty cat. I really need to... I'm gonna dry brush that with, yeah. You can see it smears it all around, so that's why I'm not using the electric toothbrush, because it does an even more aggressive smearing effect. Okay, now I can follow up with some more buds. Jay, you'd be disgusted with the fact that it's just... the flux is just getting everywhere. And unfortunately, with these sort of situations, it's very hard to get the flux under control. Okay, that might just have to do. Let's see if we've got 20 volts, because my TikTok time is kind of done. I basically have a 10-minute window before I got to deal with micro. Flux between two caps. Yeah, what are you going to do? Still nothing? Wow. Okay, the next possibility is that the diode got damaged. Seriously? Okay, the diode could have been damaged and now it drops too much. I mean, I'm seeing some activity, but not. Jeez. And you watch, it's probably going to end up that the ISL is faulty. Voltage time. Okay, what have we got? 3.8. 5.1. Yeah, that's too severe. 3.8, that's not right. At least it shouldn't be. That should be closer to 4.6 or something like that. So I think that diode got damaged during the short circuit process. Yeah, I think what it's doing is it's trying to get started, but there's too much resistance on this diode. But the drop's too severe, and then there's not enough overhead for the regulator to do its job. Uh, 850. No, I really needed 239. I mean, those diodes are everywhere, but I just want to try and get a 239. There we go, 239. You better have one. Yep, there you go. You can see I've been working around on this one as well. I should actually check to see if that cap is shorted. That would be a laugh. It also make me cry though, because this here is one of the very first USB-C boards I got. What the hell? I'm gonna have to touch up those legs. There's some high quality pillow in head cold joint syndrome coming up there. Okay, that's way too much solder on those legs. It could be that the regulator is also damaged, but it's a bit weird because that shorted cap, it's on the input line, so there's no reason that, there's just no real reason that a short on the input should damage the regulator that's waiting for the input. Just doesn't make a lot of sense, but we don't know. It could have been a high voltage shoot through. Yay, there we go. Got it. So it was the diode. Alright, that's it. I'm done. I gotta go do macros insulin. Thank you for watching. It was a bit of a different one. Actually, it was a bit of a challenge. I definitely have to go in and make those changes to the open board data sequence guides, because that, like I said, if you're following that sequence, you're not going to go and test that section until much later, but it looks like, you do have to test it beforehand. So fixed. Glad, thankfully. Alright, I'm out of here. Thank you all again for watching. I appreciate it. Listen, Joey Does Tech is up next. He's going to be doing, I don't know what he's going to be doing, probably screaming at his loyal viewers for a first 30 minutes before he fixes. What are you fixing tonight, Joey? You're fixing a Nintendo? And can you... Let's see, you should be able to drop his link to his channel if you want to watch it. Someone can. Anyway, I'm out here. Thank you. See you next time.